5 scenarios where AI can make your life easier in job interviews. The first one would be your CV. Okay, so what I found extremely useful is to check your CV for grammatical mistakes using AI. And the reason for saying this is because before the AI, around 70% of CVs contained at least one grammatical mistake. Right? I used to run an applicant tracking system back in the day. And what happens is that nowadays, if everyone performs these checks, if you would still have one grammatical mistake, it will be perceived far more negatively because you would be the exception versus the norm pre-AI. Okay? Now, I would not recommend you reward your entire CV using AI simply because the first check when you apply for a job in the applicant tracking system would be to see if it's an AI rewarded CV. This is very easy to check. I also offer it to my clients. But if they catch you, so to speak, it doesn't mean they will disqualify you, but you will start on a not so positive note of, hey, this is not the actual candidate, but they used AI to sell themselves with that CV. So I would advise you to be cautious about this. The second scenario where you would want to use AI going into a job interview would be to predict the types of interview questions you're going to get asked. And I found this super useful. Of course, on the condition that you know what you're doing, so to speak. So you would have to provide as much context as possible and to prepare a query that's well crafted for the AI to provide you some accurate enough results. You must provide them with your CV, the job description, and also a little bit more insight when building that query as to what types of questions can you expect based on the interviewer, based on their seniority, and all this combination of things. Furthermore, I even offer 3 AI models for my clients to use, simply because if you have 3 sources to provide you with some advice, then you can also, use only the most relevant questions that you think make the most sense. But overall, I found this use case of predicting interview questions quite useful and accurate, okay, in the context of using AI for job interviews. The third thing I like to talk about here would be to use AI for a second opinion. Okay, so basically as a cheap coach, so to speak. And basically how this would work would be that you have your story, which fits into certain behavior or behaviors, and you would ask for AI's opinion to generate a report, so to speak, as to what the AI thinks, as to how good your answer is. You can ask the AI to score your answers on a 1 to 10, how good it is on matching a behavior or matching something, even the star format if you want. But I found that asking the AI for feedback on your answers is and can be extremely efficient on the condition you're not hallucinating into a whole conversation with AI as to how you could possibly improve your answer, and you spend 1 hour straight on that conversation. That I don't believe it works, and I haven't seen any convincing results as to how this would work efficiently for my clients. But providing a one-off report and as a second opinion with respect to your interview answers and your stories, I found this also quite valuable, right? The next use case I found useful to use AI for your upcoming job interview would be to search for insight about the company, right? So back in the day, you would use Google search to search for the company values. They would provide you with some links, more or less accurate. Nowadays, when you ask for the same thing, you would go into AI mode, and Google would be a lot more accurate and quicker in providing you that information, right? Basic stuff, company's core values, leadership principles, maybe how many interview steps can you expect, the type of people, the type of roles who are more likely going to interview you, and these sorts of small things which back in the day took significantly longer can now be done quite quickly, right? So this would be another interesting one with respect to speed. And finally, the one, probably the best one, I saved it for last, would be to use AI to criticize your interview. Okay, so basically if you'd choose to record your interviews, you can then easily build a transcript of that interview and provide it to AI to give you some critical feedback as to how your interview actually went. And I basically know this because clients of mine have asked me to provide them with feedback, their postmortems, they're called, about their job interviews in a bit to improve their performance, but you could also do this on a budget friendly, or for free with AI, and that would still be, in my experience, a very interesting use case. All right, so I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.